Yo, what is going on, everyone in the crypto space? Now, I know I did say on Twitter I would not post today, but honestly, guys, it is really hard to stay away from the XRP community. I mean, for an entire day. It's pretty hard because, when I was technically supposed to be, not doing anything crypto-related, I go on to check Twitter. I'm seeing information about the World Trade Organization. I'm seeing some FUD. I'm seeing some interesting stuff happening with the price action, and there is just too much good information circulating throughout the XRP community that is really hard to stay away from the community. So anytime I say I'm taking a break for a day, don't really trust it at all. Okay, so now guys, today I want to talk about a couple pieces of information, essentially kind of if we did have a stream today, what we would have essentially went over. So today we're going to go over some more Goldman Sachs XRP ties, the World Trade Organization actually mentioning Ripple, some cryptocurrency bots kind of going wild, and then a FUD article by the Next Web, and it's actually pretty pathetic what they try to say against XRP. So let's go ahead and let's get the information today. Now, first off, you guys have probably seen this absolute huge spike on the 30-minute chart from 47 cents all the way to just about 49 cents, and it's already kind of came down a bit, like halfway down the candle. I'm not going to start throwing out the accusations of, hey, big X Rapid transaction, but again, guys, you never know, because the one problem is that we can't really differentiate X Rapid volume versus regular speculators volume, so we really never know. Again, since we did just have the issues with the bots kind of going crazy and putting Bitcoin to 8,000, and I think like Litecoin to $1, we can't really kind of differentiate what's happening here, so maybe it could be some other bot going crazy, and the algorithm's all wrong. So anyways, besides the actual price action, let's go ahead and get into it. So as you guys may know, from back in May, Goldman Sachs, they did now back an app called Circle, which is kind of a investment app for newbies, and they have a feature where you can invest in every single cryptocurrency, so you don't have to choose into one, so you kind of put it into some sort of a, not really mutual fund, but kind of like a basket of cryptocurrencies. And then I see Bank XRP posted on Twitter that he comes out with a slideshow from Ripple, the company, and it says the XRP ecosystem is maturing. Not the Ripple ecosystem, but the XRP ecosystem. And one thing that he actually noted was he actually circled Circle that they were part of the XRP ecosystem. I went, really? So the Goldman Sachs backed cryptocurrency app should have XRP, right? So that's kind of more ties between Goldman Sachs and Ripple. So I cannot get this on my computer because I'm on Windows, not on Apple. But what's interesting is I go ahead on the App Store and I go to the Circle Invest app, so Circle Internet Financial Incorporated. It's a full-on app. It's got 1,000 reviews, so I know that's a legit one. I know guys pretty much can't see anything, but I go over to this actual picture right here. You're just gonna have to just kind of trust me on this, but you can actually look this up for yourself if you want to. But it shows a whole list of every single cryptocurrency, and it does not show XRP. It shows OX, Quantum, Stellar, EOS, Zcash, Ethereum Classic, Monero, Litecoin, Bitcoin Cash, Ethereum, and Bitcoin, but it nowhere on the preview of the app does it show XRP actually being available on there, which I really find kind of odd, how Ripple puts that Circle is a part of the XRP ecosystem, but yet it's not available on the app for investment. So I wonder if there's some sort of plans going on in the background. Maybe they want to provide a little kind of some sort of a different custody solution behind it, or they do want to wait until they can integrate with X Rapid to list XRP. Who knows what's happening? But again, this is a Goldman Sachs backed exchange, or an investment app, and Ripple's saying that they're a part of the XRP ecosystem, but from what I'm reading on the app, that XRP is not actually available on the app, so it's kind of sparking my curiosity why they would name Circle as part of the ecosystem, even though it's not listed on the app, so that could forecast some plans going on behind the scenes. Next piece of information, guys, this has really been kind of on fire throughout the community for the last hour here. Now, someone found a document, it's pretty recent actually, of the World Trade Organization coming out with a full-on PDF about banking. It's just a kind of overall World Trade report, 236 pages long. And then it says right here, let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit. Ripple has ambitions to circumvent the correspondent banking model through its distributed ledger platform. It gives banks the ability to convert funds directly into different currencies in a matter of seconds at little to no cost, literally fractions of a fraction of a penny, without relying on correspondent banks. Then the company has licenses with more than 100 banks. Essentially, more 100 banks have production contracts with them and financial institutions, but it seems that only a limited number of large operations have taken place today. Banks are still testing the system. Now, I don't know if they're basing banks are still testing the system off of what Ripple has said, or since they are the World Trade Organization, if they got some info that we don't. But what I went ahead and looked up on Wikipedia about the World Trade Organization. Literally, you can see on this graph right here, this is the green is members, blue is members, but represented by the European Union, and then observers and non-participants. Now, if you take a look at this globe here, it pretty much shows that every single country in existence, for the most part, is actually a part of the World Trade Organization. So this is in somewhat like kind of at the same level of the IMF if they were to say something similar, because you can look the entire, it's just all lit up green, blue just meaning it's represented by the EU, and then we have some observers, but these countries are a little bit less significant in terms of actual, you know, like remittance volume and banking volume and trade. But pretty much you can see here that the World Trade Organization, who pretty much has, for the most part, every single country a part of the organization, is now actually acknowledging the fact that Ripple does have another solution besides the correspondent banking model for liquidity. So they're trying to put out a new liquidity solution out there by using its distributed ledger platform and using digital currencies, and it can literally settle the transaction in a matter of seconds at almost pretty much no cost. So it's very interesting that such a large organization that has basically every single country in the world in existence connected to the organization, the fact that they are acknowledging Ripple and its technology, I find that quite fascinating. And I also like how it mentions Ripple and okay, no, they don't say digital asset, but it does say it gives banks the ability to convert funds directly into different currencies in a matter of seconds, but the only way they're doing that in a matter of seconds is through XRP, so you must know that. But anyways, really huge to see an organization with pretty much every country in existence a part of the organization actually acknowledging Ripple. Even though, like, if banks come out and don't say necessarily something good or bad, but it's just kind of acknowledgement, the fact that they are acknowledging it means that it is on their radar somewhat, and they do have an interest in it. So, honestly, great news there. I mean, for Sunday, this is actually really good news, by the way. And again, little thing here, the bots, this happened with Ripple, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. People are saying some bots went crazy, and all of a sudden just freaking dropped it and then shot the price up, then immediately came back down in the span of, like, what, 30 minutes there. I know people were saying on Twitter, like, hey, this kind of looks like an X-Rapid transaction, but this did, like, simultaneously happen with Litecoin, Ethereum, and Bitcoin. So just want to kind of, nothing really, like, good news coming out of this, but just want to let you guys know that the bots are kind of, seems like the bots are freaking out a bit. And the last piece of this video, guys, we're going to go over a FUD article. And now this is actually from this is a research, this is actually a research article from BitMEX. Now, I do want you guys to know that I do believe BitMEX has the most private interest. It's in their best interest, essentially, for Bitcoin to go up, because when you use the BitMEX platform, they do not take dollars, they do not take Litecoin, they do not take XRP, they do not take Ethereum. The only way you can trade on BitMEX is through Bitcoin. So I believe this is honestly heavily biased along with the incorrect information. So again, and what's funny is this is from the Next Web, who also hosted a Ask Me Anything with David Schwartz. So it's kind of like, what, I mean, are you guys pro XRP or not? I just don't get this. So BitMEX, they come out with a research article about how Ripple is centralized and terribly flawed. The irony there is just crazy. And I went ahead and read through it, and again, it's just, they get so many pieces of information wrong, so let's go ahead and let's get through it, and let's bust some fun. But again, BitMEX does own a lot of Bitcoin, because the only way people can withdraw money is through Bitcoin and deposit through Bitcoin. So these guys do have a lot of Bitcoin, and they push a ton of volume. So it's in their best interest to kind of shun down XRP. And the only reason they're doing this is because they realize it's a threat. The reason why you don't see, like, Bitcoin maximalists or very pro-Bitcoin companies or exchanges come out against, like, Litecoin, Ethereum, like Doge or EOS is because those currencies aren't an actual threat to Bitcoin, but XRP really is. So the article starts off by saying Ripple XRP is centralized and terribly flawed, researchers say. So it says, among other things, BitMEX notes that while Ripple was initially conceived as means to enabling peer-to-peer trust where individuals could directly lend funds to each other, lend, I don't necessarily know if that's the right word, it's just kind of transfer funds, not lending. Its network architecture will most probably remain unstable, and the trust networks are unlikely to be regarded as reliable. Huh. I don't think they would have 100 production contracts if the banks actually found that the network was unreliable. Well, let's keep going. And it says, more worryingly though, the report seems to suggest that once most trust networks come to be regarded as unreliable, the entire system could centralize toward a few large banks and fail to be sufficiently different to the existing financial system, making it liable to regular banking defaults. Now, the irony here is almost making me laugh. Centralize towards a few large banks and fail to be sufficiently different from the existing financial system. What is happening to Bitcoin right now? 51% of the hash power of Bitcoin is from China. The 4 to 5 mining pools could easily group up and double spend attack the network at any time they wanted to. So what's funny is they're saying that Ripple's centralized and it's gonna go towards a fewer banks, but what they're not considering is the fact that the Bitcoin code just bows down to hash power. Doesn't care who you are, does not care if you're a communist country or if you're Hitler. If you have the most hash power, the Bitcoin code is going to obey the most hash power. And then the hash power is centralized all in China. Not even from big miners, but from big mining pools. So actual hash power, get this. This is how screwed up Bitcoin is, guys. Literally, like if I wanted to set up a miner here in my room and I connected to a Chinese mining pool, that hash power is literally given from America to China. So even the miners that are mining out of China is still giving the hash power to China. Hence why China has more than 51% hash power of Bitcoin. So then by calling Ripple centralized, it's like, dude, Ripple's actually more decentralized. Ripple only has 7% of the nodes on the network. And plus now that Ripple controls less than 50% of the unique node list, I think it's like 44% right now to be exact. They only control 44% of the unique node list, which is like the really important validators essentially. Right now, Ripple cannot make an amendment solely with their own decision. Ripple right now, to make an amendment and make a change to the network, they do need to get the consensus of another third-party validator for that amendment to actually go through. So it's not centralized. And then get this, guys, the last part, because this whole article is bullcrap, but the funniest thing about this, the actual funniest thing about this is the last part of this article, because this entire article is relevant. Just got to give you guys the point that this is fun. If you see this, it's just complete crap. Now listen to this. This is gonna make you laugh. In addition to the shortcomings in its consensus protocol, BitMEX discovered that Ripple appears to be missing 32,000 blocks from the start of the ledger, and its nodes are not able to obtain the data. I'm sorry to break the news to you guys, but Ripple does not have blocks. It says they're missing 32,000 blocks, but Ripple does not have blocks. Be careful what you read online, guys. Again, BitMEX, they own a ton of Bitcoin. It's in their best interest for it to go up, and they know well XRP is a threat, and that's how you know we are winning. I mean, really, missing 32,000 blocks? I mean, if they're going to spread some FUD, they could have at least said, like, they own majority of the currency or something like that. But really, missing 32,000 blocks? Blocks don't exist with Ripple, guys. We don't mine. There is no blocks. Absolutely, absolutely ridiculous. Alright, guys, I do enjoy busting some good FUD. But anyways, I did go over some good information today. The World Trade Organization actually acknowledging the Ripple platform, and the Goldman Sachs-backed Circle is actually a part of the XRP ecosystem. So, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you did enjoy. Make sure to check links in the description if you do want to support the channel. Get yourself Nano S, get that cryptocurrency safe. So, thank you guys for tuning in the video. I will see you guys in tomorrow's stream.